How do, folks? How you doing? Just a quick one. It's one to chat about the recent events and what I've said on the recent videos, to be honest. Now, first of all, I hope everybody had a good period, whatever you call it, whatever you do. I don't really do it myself, but lots of folk do, so fair play. And lots of folk have kids, so have to. Yeah, so I hope it all went your way and you got everything you wanted. Peace and goodwill to all men. Which isn't coming. So I thought I'd do this quick one anyway, because it's a wonky old world, and it is a wonky old fucking world where everything's upside down and ass backwards. Now, I called out for some solidarity. I've called it out a couple of times, and what I've seen is more divisiveness. It seems like divide and conquer is all that matters out there. You've got I'm scratching my nose, by the way, not some Freemasonic. I do get accused of it. I don't know why I get an itchy nose when I'm on here, but yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so yeah, divisiveness, that's what I see. There's lots of folk out there more interested in kicking bullshit off amongst other truthers. Now, whether they've done wrong or not, I don't know. I don't have a dog in that fight, and I don't really give a fuck either, because I think there's far more important issues going on than what most people are dealing with. I know there is a slight discussion about some things here and there by so-called truthers who talk about shit but not actually doers. There don't seem to be any doers out there. Now, from last year, I've always, well, I say always, for years I've been in the private. Now I spent originally 7 years or so just helping everybody who needed help, dealing with every fucking energy vampire out there that just wanted to sap every bit of my time and energy. And as most folks know, it led to 4 fucking heart attacks trying to help people for fuck all. From there, I chose to go into the private, because it was clear that people would fucking absolutely drain me to death and then just move on to the next one, because that's what happens. Not particularly everybody's a cunt out there, but the reality is everybody has their own needs, and my needs weren't being catered for. Like I say, I worked myself into 4 fucking heart attacks for absolute nothing, dealing with everybody's issues, taking them off their shoulders and putting them on my own. And it got nothing, it got no respect, got no nothing. So I went into the private and started doing just a couple of things for money and helping an awful lot of folks out for nothing still. Now that bit don't get noticed there, you're just a cunt for charging for what you do on the cash side of things, but it is what it is. Got rid of the energy vampires, and then I could pick and choose the real needy ones to help, and I could go out there and help. Now, I continued to doing what I do right the way through myself having cancer, and luckily I don't have it anymore, and that's without the help of hospitals. And then my wife got cancer, a really severe one, a rapid onset, and yeah, a really aggressive cancer, and now she doesn't anymore either, which is absolutely fucking awesome. And the only dealings with the medical industry we had were the scans, x-rays and MRIs, CT scans, all 3, because it was bone cancer. Like I say, she don't anymore, which is fantastic. We kicked its arse. But during all this, even while the missus was ill, I was out there trying to help folks. Now, we've put ourselves out there, brought ourselves out of the private just over a year ago to bring up Project Jericho, which was trying to help everybody. Me and a couple of really good folks, good friends and well knowledgeable people, got our heads together and decided to do something for the masses, and not just sit in the private. We run Project Jericho. We saw firsthand in Chancery Court that the judiciary wasn't standing under their oath. They wasn't acting within the separation of powers that they're supposed to be, and more to the point, the Chancery, a court of equity, was operating in an admiralty fashion, which they most certainly shouldn't do. So that was really troubling to us. We saw that firsthand. Now, when the judiciary aren't acting as they should, there's a problem, and there's a really serious problem, and we recognise that. Now, on from that, we came away and we started looking at what can be done. Now, me and Jodie are still dealing with PJ on the side to take that further, but more importantly is this judiciary, because, and this plays a massive part in the decision to not just slip back into the private and mind my own business and stick my head up my arse. I could have done either. I've got my own private study group there, which I could have just slipped into and not come outside of that and right, let's just keep everything in the private. But I saw a more important need, and that more important need was mainly after seeing what the judiciary are up to. Now, seeing that firsthand showed me folks can't just go in there and get remedy for what they are wanting to do. These small world claims that most folks are stuck in still, and I've been saying it for probably over a year. The small world claims are not the important shit out there at the minute. They're really not. And if they were, I could just slip away back into the private and mind my own business, like I say, and leave it to these people that are putting out the solutions to the small world issues. There are a lot of them out there. The solutions aren't really solutions, but that's beside the point. They've got your ear, they've got your faith, so you'll follow them. They talk a good fight, they put up a good fight, and they want to teach people stuff that really isn't that important at the minute, because we've got a new world order, a one world order, a one world government forming in slow motion, one world cash system forming in slow motion, even a one world religion forming in slow motion. These are the real serious issues. The enslavement of mankind happening in real time. The frauds on the jab scenes. Now, folks are falling for it hook, line and fucking sinker. And there are some truthers discussing it, having a bit of a whine about it and talking about it, and some of them are putting some good information out there about it, but nobody's actually doing anything. There's a bit of talk, but most of the talk, as I see, is totally off topic, still sticking around the small world solutions. Now, small world claims, there's a place for it, and there is a place for it in this truth movement, and the ones that are filling that niche, maybe fair play, I don't really know, because I'm not involving myself with them. I did put myself out there for any of the heavy hitters to come and chat. Now, I had a couple of decent folks come and chat, and there's a couple that were prepared to come and sit around a table. But for the most part, people are more interested in pushing the solutions to debt collectors, pushing the solutions to all of the small world claims that are out there that are really not important, that are filling everybody's minds. Distraction, divide and conquer, keep everybody in this, I'd say in this place of fear, but everybody is really in a place of fear at the minute, and that's what's being done from outside factors. But also some on the inside are perpetuating that shit by just keeping you in with the small world problems and not caring at all about the real issues, the main issues. The reason why I came back out from the private into the public is because the world's about to be enslaved. You've got cities that are coming out as closing down to you, basically. 15-minute cities, we used to call them smart cities. We've been telling you about them for years, but as usual, nothing really matters until it's in your face. But what's actually being done about it? I'll tell you what's being done about it. There'll be a protest and it'll be controlled opposition. Everybody will fall for it. All the usual ones will fall for it, should I say. All the usual ones will be there waving banners and going for this good time, getting together, having a little bit of a party atmosphere, having a laugh, having a giggle, really having a good day and enjoying your day and forgetting what you're really there for and what it's about. It's controlled opposition. It's always controlled opposition, always. Now I'm seeing what I believe to be controlled opposition out there amongst what I would have called the heavy hitters, what I would have expected to be the heavy hitters. For one, because they're only focusing on the small world shit as usual, the same shit that they was focusing on last year, the year before and the year before that, and there's some really important shit he's dealing with. You're about to get locked down again. Do they comply? These heavy hitters, are they paying all the bills and such like you'd expect them to be if there were shills? Are they paying their council taxes? Have they got their meters in place? How are they conducting their own business? Well, they're teaching you how to do shit. And I get it, there'll be some that are out there that are practicing what they preach, but most of them aren't. Most of them are just preaching. They're not practicing it at all, they're not doing it at all, they're not living it. But they've got plenty to say about those that do, which is unusual, isn't it? Now I call for solidarity, and I would have expected a big smear campaign on me, to be honest. Maybe it's in the process, maybe it's going to come, I don't know. Maybe they were waiting to see if I actually pulled it off and got a few people around the table before I'm smeared. It's usually what happens, somebody who's trying to actually do something. And there I was, heart on the sleeve, actually trying to do something for the masses. For the masses, not for money, not for anything. Just because I can see the biggest issue that's coming is the enslavement. And these folks that are still talking about debt collectors, still talking about council taxes, still talking about all the small world issues, kind of makes me think. It kind of makes me think, it really does. Because the reality is, we should be out there making a difference, actually doing, not just talking. Which is why I wanted to get some of the heavy hitters around the table, because getting the heavy hitters around the table would lead to actually doing as opposed to just chatting. Whereas going around and getting a load of the listeners, a load of viewers and people who are watching the YouTube video channels of various folks, doing speeches to them isn't actually doing. It might wake them up slightly to something, but there's no knowledge base there to actually get off their arses and actually do things. That's just a starting point or an update, a small lesson, but it's not actually going to do anything. It's not creating anything, which is the really important things that need to be done at the minute. They need creators, people out there who have got the knowledge, who can get together and see if they could come up with some of the solutions to these lockdown cities, these cash one world systems. Possibly nothing can be done. They've got an awful lot of momentum. I was saying it for years. They've got too much momentum and the people are stupid. And I stand by that. And I don't mean literally every man and woman out there is stupid. I think as far as the truth movement are concerned, if you're actually waking up to something and you're actually doing a bit of research and you're putting some effort in to learn something, I would say you're one of the top 2% of intelligent people in the world. I don't mean academically educated. I mean from a point of knowing some shit. Because most of people, especially the academically educated folks, are stupid. Make two short blanks look like a computer. And And it's a fact, because they've just been squished into the box. And the longer they've been in education, the more they've learned in their realm, the more they've been squished into that box. And now they can't see anything from outside of the box, which is really bizarre. But there are a lot of people, even in this game, that are squished into their own little boxes. It's like the most important things in the world are likes. Likes, subscribe, shares. Share my words. And that is either ego or controlled opposition. And I don't need to give a fuck which one it is, in all honesty. I really don't need to give a shit which one it is. If you're full of ego and full of yourself and just all about what you're doing in these times, you're part of the problem. If you're too busy calling out other people and wanting to kick up fuck with everybody, you're part of the problem. If you're not getting round a table, you're part of the problem. There's more problems out there than these small world issues. And like I say, and I've said it before, I can just fuck back off into the private and just say fuck everybody. I'll just stick my head in my study group and stick to them guys, and just maybe come out and make a YouTube video every now and again telling everybody they're a bunch of cunts. Who knows? But the reality is, this is where I am with it all. This is where I am. I've shook my head so much I've got a sore fucking neck. And in reality, it's these people that believe the truthers that need to go give their heads a wobble. Like I say, I've talked to a couple of good folks, and there are a couple of good folks that got in touch with me that would like to get around a table. But there's a massive but there, and it's a huge but. And that's the fact that 2 or 3 people getting round a table isn't going to cut it. It was about numbers. It wasn't about me starting a new movement, and I don't want to be the head of a new movement, and that's something I never wanted, and the people around me know that, absolutely know that. I wanted to bring some of the heavy hitters to the table, not for me to be a leader, and I said that right at the start, for everybody to be equal and come up with some real-time solutions to the real problems of this world, not the small world problems, not whether it's private or public. It's about the real shit that is coming, whatever, to enslave the masses. And that's really what I was about, and that's what I wanted to do. Now, anybody who does genuinely know me knows my heart's on my sleeve. Anybody who doesn't, I don't need to give a fuck. I really don't. If you're not in my life, I don't need you in my life, and I probably don't want you in my life. It's as simple as that. And there's some great people out there that I'm sure everybody would benefit from being in each other's lives. But if you can't get the truth movement to come together, you haven't got a fucking chance in hell. You can't move mountains with a couple of people. And yeah, there's one good guy out there that said to me, build it and they will come. And that's, I agree, absolutely. And I could get around a table with 2 or 3 people and we start progressively moving forward and building something. And yes, more people would come. But that way I'd be building a movement, and I'd be the leader of a group, of a movement, which I don't want to be. Like I said, I came out of the private for this. I didn't come out of the private to just make myself a target standing there alone, or virtually alone. That isn't what it was about. I came out of the private to be there for the masses, to try and help the masses. But unfortunately the masses are being controlled, as always, by the groups that they're in. And whether they feel controlled or not, they absolutely are. They're being fed the narratives of that group. Some of them may be doing good things. I don't know what all the groups are doing. Some of them for sure are just small world issue shit, teaching. And I get everybody's got this need to learn at the minute, especially you need to know some shit. But if you think you're going to start going on courses now and you've got time to survive what's coming, nah, you needed to be going on them courses a couple of years ago. You can't just go on course now and think you're going to get through the New World Order. And the people running them courses and doing that shit don't believe that either. It can't be done that way. The way I saw it being done is the group leaders getting together, the people with the voices, and then you can talk to the masses between all of the people that have got the voice. Then you can reach the masses and you can get one true solution put out to everybody and create action from it. Substance over form. But what I see is folk more interested in the form over substance. Like I say, everybody wants the likes, the pats on the backs, the attaboys. You legend, you're my hero, couldn't do it without you. That's what people want to hear. But the reality is every fucking one of you are your own saviour. Every single one of you are your own saviour. You don't need another saviour. Another saviour isn't going to save you. I say it all the time. There are some shortcuts to learning, but there aren't no alternatives to learning. And I think most people are going for the alternatives to learning. So it is what it is, folks. You've got your own choices to make, and so have I. And it's clear to me, it is absolutely clear to me, there is no solidarity coming in this movement. Absolutely, there is no solidarity coming. The more solidarity is created, the more the shills and the fucking controlled opposition work against it. The more calling out of other folks there are, the more backstabbing and shit stirring within the movement. And that's what I see. Like I say, I haven't been victim to any of it, surprisingly. And I'll not be a victim anyway. I don't give a flying fuck. You know, if everybody thought I was a cunt, what would that mean? That would mean I'm quieter, I don't have to work so hard. I don't really give a shit what people think of me. People are small-minded. They don't look deep enough. They form fucking opinions on other people's opinions, so I leave them to themselves. Absolutely do. Now, like I say, there's some good folks, and not just with me, but certainly me and a couple of other good folks have made some real massive steps to do some really good things over the last couple of years. How they've turned out isn't I would expect or I would want, but we didn't actually intend to stop. We didn't get off the boat. We wanted to keep plugging, keep hitting. But unfortunately, the heavy hitters don't give a shit, really, do they? They're not really heavy hitters. As far as I see it, they're not heavy hitters. I've had a couple of good folks speak to me. I've had a couple of fucking idiots speak to me as well. I've had a couple of folks that I know damn well are shills speak to me. Folks with no voice but just parrot other people's shit. And out of all of them, there's only a couple prepared to actually come to a table. Most of it's just blah blah, let's have a chat, blah 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 blah. Chew the fat for fucking half an hour and then that's it, off gone. What does that say? So it is what it is. Like I say, I don't believe there's much in the line of remedy coming over this New World Order. They are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to succeed on what they're going to succeed with through the acquiescence of mankind. The acquiescence of those that didn't bother to learn, and those that had learnt something didn't bother to fucking sit up and pay attention to what's really happening, as opposed to just continuing with the bullshit that they're doing in the first place. Like I say, I came out of the private specifically to help in the public. And there are some good folk out there needing help. But as back then, before I started putting a fee to things, if you try and help people on an individual basis and you're one man, it'll kill you. So I'm not going to be going back to there. And I know loads of people, oh come on, yeah. No, I'm not going to be going back to one man helping thousands and thousands of people. That destroyed my life. This was about one man coming out there to try and create some solidarity. It's not coming, folks. It's not. What is the answer? Individually, I don't know. For me, like I say, I can just pop back into the private and go fuck it, stick my head down, do my own thing, pay attention to my own little group that I've got in the private, and I'm sure they'd appreciate it. But yeah, this isn't what I wanted. I wanted, like I say, to create some solidarity. I wanted to pull thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands ultimately of people together through multiple groups of heavy hitters, all getting round a table and sitting and concentrating on the real-time solutions to the real issues that are coming, not the small world issues, not the evidencing your status to the government, not the private trusts, the actual real issues that are coming down the line. The one world governments, the one world currencies. The only telling you at the minute is digital currencies. That's the one world currency that's coming. There's no way to help the people. And I'd learned that a long time ago. Years ago I'd learned that. And just the situation being what it is, the sheer amount of ignorance to the real fucking issues, is why I felt this intense need to try and do something. But folks, it ain't happening that way, and it really ain't. And I'm not the sort of guy to sit there flogging a dead horse. And I get it, a lot of people have been saying don't give up, but I didn't start. I just put something out there to see how it'd go, and it didn't. And I've heard the blah blah, I've heard the bullshit, everybody's excuse for why they're not doing it, and everybody's own choice. I can't tell everybody what they should and shouldn't do. I never have told anybody what they should and shouldn't do. I don't even advertise the things I do for a fee. I just do what I do, and I'm there for what I'm there for. Anybody who knows me and wants me, I'm there. And other than that, I don't whore for business, I don't whore myself out. I'm just minding my own business. Like I say, sat in the private, just plodding along, doing my own thing. But I felt this incessant need to come out and try and help folks. But what can I say? The way I see it, the folks don't really want much help. If they genuinely wanted help, they'd be putting a little bit of due diligence into things rather than just following the next best hope. And that's what you get, people bouncing from one to the other, following the next best hope. And the best hope is the one that talks more shit to you. The best hope is the ones out there that are saying, we've got this, I do this for free, don't go to somebody who, oh, they charged, oh, watch them, they're wrong uns because they charge. Well, I'd more be asking, why would anybody be doing anything for free? And yes, you can hear them say, because we love you. But at this level, this is a 24/7 job. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're at it, ongoing, non-stop. You have to eat. And anybody out there not eating is a liar. So, who are they getting paid by? That's just throwing it out there. Who are they getting paid by? But it is what it is, folks. You can believe the small world shit if you want to have people blow smoke up your arse and make you truly believe that that's the important shit. You need to learn how to deal with a debt collector. You know, there's been people out there, good folks out there, have wrote books on how to deal with debt collectors. They've done years of videos on how to deal with debt collectors, but you need another one coming out and regurgitating the same shit that's been said for fucking years and years, that you can see off YouTube videos that have been done way long ago, but now you need it reiterating. You need new people telling you the same shit, because that does what exactly? Blows smoke up your ass, makes you think they're the new legends. They're the ones to follow. Must be right, eh? You heard it on YouTube. So hey, it is what it is. You're not helping yourself, folks. You're really not, by all this bouncing from one to the next to the next. And I'm not saying don't listen to anybody new that comes out, but stop believing everybody's your legend or everybody's your hero or your next best hope. You're your next best hope. You. I've said it all along. You are. There are people out there that charge for some shit. I'm one of the guys that charge for some shit. There are others out there that charge for some shit. Whether it's shit or not, that's for you to decide. But the reality is, there are folks out there doing what they do, and there are folks out there not doing too. Doing lots of blah blah, blah blah blah, but actually nothing fucking else. Riling you up to protests. Probably the same ones that were shouting defund the police, kneel on the neck shit. Remember him getting knot on the neck? I can't breathe. You got people out there jump on every fucking bandwagon going. Now you all see them as the ones to actually follow. I see them as the ones to beware of. You got to really beware of them. It's a dodgy old world. Really is a dodgy old world, and you got to be very, very fucking careful, because most, and I mean most out there, are controlled opposition, and that's something I've learned more recently. I've known for a long time that there's a hell of a lot of controlled opposition out there. I never realised what percentage, and I still don't know an exact percentage, but it's a fucking high percentage, I guarantee you. It's a high percentage. And I would say controlled opposition as opposed to deluded. I used to think semi-deluded, semi-controlled. And there are some that are actually deluded, but there are seriously some controlled out there as well. And they're going to keep you in the small realms, keep you thinking it's important to learn, go on courses about what? Debts, dealing with debt collectors. They're small world issues, and they are not important. Debt collectors are not hard to deal with. They're really not. You need to get them out of your life, not invite them in. But the reality is, if you're being kept in them realms, you're missing the point by a mile. Anyway folks, that's pretty much all I've got to say today, so I'll leave you with that and let you have a ponder on things. Where it's going to go from here, I don't know. Whether I'm just going to pull my head back in my shell or not, I don't know. We'll see as time goes on. But I have no faith in the truth movement. I have no faith in the so-called twoofers. I have no faith in those that are blowing smoke up your ass and telling you what's important, like I just have. It is what it is. You do your own due diligence. You work out for yourself what's more important here. Another new one telling you the same old shit as others have told you over years and years and years, or waking the fuck up and realising that the new world order is slipping in slowly around you. Whether you realise it or not, it's trapping you, it's enslaving you, and ultimately you're not going to be able to travel around, you're not going to be able to do anything. And I bet you a pound to a pinch of shit I still am. So wakey wakey folks, have a good one now. Ta-da.